I want to introduce you to an ancient city in our world that seems like it was ripped straight out of the 101 Arabian Nights. The city is sometimes called the Madinat al-Sihr, or the City of Magic. Some know it as the birthplace of the Jinn, magic and the occult. Others know it as Bahla, the magical city of Oman. Bahla is located somewhat 200 kilometers from the main capital of Oman, in Muscat. About 1400 years ago, it is said that the residents of Bahla executed a man for practicing magic by hurling stones at him. Ever since then, he's been haunting the narrow streets of Bahla, preying and attacking strangers. However, another story claims that the man was practicing magic and teaching others to do the same, and so they stoned him to death. Then they built a fort on top of his grave to stop those who learned from him to start worshipping his grave. However, this led to the man haunting the Bahla fort, and those who wander this fort alone or at night tend to find him in dark crevices or dark alleys, waiting for them to finish his lessons. However, there is another story which states a different reason as to why this Bahla fort was built. It is generally believed that the fort is haunted, and that some people have said that over 1,000 jinns inhabit this ancient fort. Historically, this fort had been built by the Banu Neban tribe, the rulers of the Bahla fort. However, the locals have a different version of the story. They say that this fort was built by the jinns, and it was built all in one night. There is an old tale of a local tribe attacking the Banu Neban tribe, and the city of Bahla was targeted in this attack. The ruler at that time was fearful of the attack, as he didn't have the men nor the fortifications in place to stop such an attack, so he asked the local jinns in the area to help him stop the attack. They heeded his call and built a massive fort overnight, which shocked and terrified the army, as they believed that there was powerful unseen forces at play here, so they just left, never to return again. But according to research on the wall's exterior, the fort dates back even further than the Banu Neban tribe. Some researchers say that it predates Islam, meaning this fort would have been built more than 1400 years ago, before the advent of the Prophet Muhammad. There is a lot of mystery surrounding the building of the fort, and there isn't a definitive answer as to when it was built or for what purpose. However, what we do know is that it isn't the only enchanted and haunted place in Bahla. There is a tree situated somewhere in the city. It is said that any outsider who isn't a resident of Bahla touches the tree, then he will have grave misfortune land upon him, which would ultimately result in his death. And it's not just one tree, but many different trees in the area which are bewitched, which makes it difficult and scary for people to live in the city. However, within the city there is another tree with a more occult and magical background that some sources say was used by ancient figures in ceremonial rituals. Some of these figures were said to have been the legendary King Solomon and the Queen Cleopatra. What these ceremonial rituals are is unknown. However, these two figures have been attached with jinns and magic before, so it doesn't come as a surprise that they would visit a city filled by the jinns. If you visit every house in Bahla, you'll find numerous stories of the jinn. Every person who has lived here has some story to tell. Let's look at one of these stories. Muhammad al-Hinai was one such person who had lived through a haunting that shook him till this very day. In the cold Omani winter at night, just behind his beautiful cement house, appeared a green inferno. This inferno was shaped like a green ball of fire and hovered over the ground. It was shaped as a triangle, and this threw him back, because a ball of fire he could understand, but a ball of fire shaped like a triangle, hovering over the ground and green in color, this was more than just his mind playing tricks on him. But what scared him the most, and even more, was that this fire was cackling, almost as if it was laughing. And this suspicion was confirmed when he saw a woman dressed in rags on top of a tree just behind this fire, and she looked directly at him. Whilst the fire still cackled, she stared down at him for some time, as he was frozen in the spot due to fear, and walked right into the tree and was never seen again. Muhammad also remarks that it was in the winter, where the temperatures are really cold in the night, so there was no way that a spark could have been generated to even create this fire. NPR's Ruth Sherlock recently visited Bahla to understand how the local population who lives there would feel about the jinn. It is an understatement to say that some of them weren't even willing to talk to her. People were afraid to even speak of the jinn. One elderly man remarked, saying, No, this is none of my business," and walked off. Ruth then interviews a local teenager who wears a black ring. He says that it protects him from the jinn that would haunt him at night. Then she moves on to a small factory owner called Saeed al-Adawi. He makes pots. He says that there is a female jinn nearby his factory, but it is mostly peaceful and doesn't do anything unless she is provoked. Then Ruth moves on to a muallim, or an exorcist, Harib al-Shukhaili. This exorcist has a variety of herbs and potions in place, which help him cure people, as well as a drum to summon jinns from the victim's body. But he still uses the Quran to try and exorcise the jinns. However, he is secretive about openly telling this to people in the public, as black magic is banned in Oman, and what he does may sometimes be considered as black magic. On the outside, Bahla is a normal city, but once on the inside, if you decide to venture into it, you open yourself up to a city where jinn are in every aspect of life. There are those people who are scared of the jinn, there are those people who would protect themselves from the jinn, and there are those people who would seek to end the jinn. And magic seems to be all around the city, from what you say to what you wear. I guess what I'm trying to say is that the more you know about the city, the more you realize that it deserves the name Madinat al-Sihr. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Take care.